Elon Musk knows at least part of the enemy. He's not quite savvy on the spiritual side of the war that we're facing, but he does understand the worldly version, the radical left, that is attempting to destroy the United States of America. And he is throwing his hat back in the ring, trying to fight against the scourge of radical leftism. Article we have over at AmericaFirstReport.com. Elon Musk is all in for the midterms because the radical left would torch America. Fact check confirmed. He is correct. Elon Musk does not mince the reality. America is toast if the radical left wins, he said. That was earlier this year. They will open the floodgates to illegal immigration and fraud. It won't be America anymore. This is the former Doge guy, still the top dog at Tesla and X and SpaceX and XAI. Yeah. And for those who maybe are new to the show, I don't 100% trust Elon Musk. I don't. I think he might, but politically speaking, as of right now, seems like he's back on the good side of things. Back to the article. Now, the world's richest man is putting serious capital behind those words. According to Axios, Musk is reviving his America PAC for a major push in the 2026 midterms. The focus is pure turnout, door knocking, digital ads, and direct mail aimed at the conservative base, especially those voters who tend to sit out non-presidential years. And that's why, we lose midterms all the time. Even 2022, which was a win, it was supposed to be a red tsunami, and it was not. Not even close. Now, we can argue against the voter fraud that took place, and there was plenty of it, as I'm sure you all know, but we can still overcome it. We just have to make it too big to win and pass the Save America Act, but that's a discussion for another day. In 2024, that same PAC spent more than $260 million and knocked on over 10 million doors across swing states. This time, the investment is expected to be substantial again. Hopefully, it's a lot more. We look at it, we say, oh my gosh, $260 million, that's a lot of money. The dude that's a drop in the bucket. I'm not saying, he should just give away his money. I'm not one of those guys. But if he really does care, and I know he does, then if I were as rich as him and I wanted to save America and I wanted to do so by going after these midterms and trying to fix things, $1 billion, that's my number. But then again, I'm not that rich. I don't have $1 billion. I hope I never have $1 billion because that would be kind of weird. With that said, Elon Musk has billions of dollars, and I'm glad that he's re-entering the fray. James Blair, a senior Trump political advisor, called the return a huge boost for Republicans across the country. America PAC's spokesperson added that the group is, quote, excited to again be part of the team. Praise God for that. That the team that built a top-notch operation capable of bucking history. This is not some sudden conversion or conversation. Musk poured all that money, nearly $300 million, into the 2024 effort that helped elect President Trump and keep the House and Senate in Republican hands. He became the public face of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Then came the predictable blow-up over the One Big Beautiful Bill. Musk hated the elimination of EV subsidies and what he called a mountain of disgusting pork. And to be fair, look, I support President Trump wholeheartedly. But when it came to the big beautiful bill, there's a lot of challenges I had with it. Elon Musk identified some of them. I'm not saying I agreed with what he did and went all sorts of weird Epstein on him, but the big beautiful bill, lots of good stuff in there, lots of not so good stuff, but it's here and we support it. Words flew, accusations about Epstein files surfaced. For a moment, it looked finished. It's over. The breakup has happened. Yet Trump has a long record of repairing relationships with the media that the media declared dead forever. The two have mended enough fences that Musk is once more coordinating with the president's team. He already cut a $10 million check to Kentucky Senate Super PAC earlier this year. He has spent months pushing the Save America Act to his more than 230 million followers on X, calling failure to pass it an act of high treason against the people of America. And I couldn't have said it better myself. That bill demands proof of citizenship. You know what the bill is. Meanwhile, the other side is broke. They're hurting. The DNC is carrying more debt than cash on hand. Reports show it put its headquarters up as collateral for a $15 million loan. The RNC sits on roughly 130 million with no debt. Republican committees and aligned PACs hold a multi-$100 million advantage before Musk even writes the next check. Now, keep something in mind. There's a whole bunch, a ton, I don't know, it's in the billions as far as money that is currently not in circulation, not being reported, and won't come in until the time comes. That money, of course, comes from what I believe, not making direct accusations, but my theory, and this theory is backed up by facts. This theory is that there are those, perhaps even foreign interests, such as China, possibly even Russia, the Neville Royce Singhams of the world, the George Soroses of the world, that are ready to put in small donor donations through companies such as ActBlue and disguise it and get it out in massive form to the races that they believe they can win, such as they're still very hopeful about Maine. We'll see how that goes. They're very, very hopeful about James Tallarico in Texas. They're going after Georgia. There are in Michigan. They're waiting to see what happens with that before knowing what to do there. There's a lot of races that they're going to be focusing on and sinking in a ton of money. So don't just say, oh, RNC. Oh, who cares if the RNC has an advantage over the DNC? They don't affect elections nearly as much as the dark money, the super PACs, and that's where we don't know what sort of advantage or disadvantage the DNC, or the Democrats, I shouldn't say the DNC, but the Democrats have in that lane. So just don't get complacent is all I'm saying. Democrats are asking vendors to hold their invoices until after the election. That is not a campaign. That is a fire sale. The radical left's record is clear. Open borders that flood the country with illegal aliens. Lawfare against political opponents. Attempts to redefine election rules so that citizenship becomes optional. Cultural warfare that treats biological reality as hate speech. If they regain the House or the Senate, the America First agenda stalls. The border reopens. The administrative state reasserts itself. The foundation erodes further. And to be clear, between the two, we really, really, really don't want to lose the Senate, because there's a very good chance, probably better than 50% chance, that in the second half of President Trump's term, he will need to make a decision, or he will need to nominate at least one Supreme Court justice. And we have to have control of the Senate, or else the justice, whichever justice is picked, will not be the person that we want. I mean, it's bad enough that his first three picks from his first administration have proven to be milquetoast, lukewarm, sort of occasionally conservative, but still they go against our agenda a lot. They're not originalists. We need more Samuel Alitos and Clarence Thomases. But with that said, we won't even get close to, we'll get worse than Gorsuch or Barrett or Kavanaugh if the Democrats regain control of the Senate. So that's a non-starter. That absolutely positively cannot happen. As far as the House, yeah, we'd like to keep control of that as well. Because if we lose control, and I know people say, "Oh, but they're not doing anything." Look, I'll take a do-nothing, feckless Republican House and Senate over a destructive and aggressive and distracting House or Senate, or God forbid both, from the Democrats. Okay, I will rip on Republicans all day. John Thune is a disaster, but he's better than Chuck Schumer or whoever they would put in there. Mike Johnson is okay sometimes, but he's worlds better than Hakeem Jeffries or whoever they would put in there. We have to defend this turf. We have to make the last 2 years of President Trump's term as distraction-free as possible, and preferably get some actual real work done. Let's finish up the article. Musk's answer is practical. He's not waiting for someone else to defend those foundations. He is funding the ground game that turns registered conservatives into actual voters. Door knockers, mail pieces, targeted digital, the unglamorous work that decides midterms when presidential enthusiasm is absent. Critics will sneer about billionaire influence, yada, yada, yada. But we need Elon Musk and anybody else who is willing to step up. And it's not just about, oh, you got to be able to throw millions or even billions of dollars at it. It's about getting the enthusiasm up. It is true that Republicans, and both Republicans and Democrats, show up less to midterm elections, obviously, but Republicans do far worse. We always do. The people that are super enthusiastic about voting for President Trump aren't going to be super enthusiastic, or oftentimes aren't going to be super enthusiastic about showing up to vote for Ken Paxton. okay, or Susan Collins. And as much as I don't like Susan Collins, she is far better than Troy Jackson. We need to control the Senate. We need to control the Senate. We need to keep control of the Senate and the House, but definitely the Senate. So we have to get aggressive. Now's the time. It's not too early. It's almost August. We've got just a couple more months of hardcore campaigning before it turns super, super, super hardcore. Let's get it done. Let's make this happen. Let's make America great again. Oh, speaking of which, sorry, that was my cut. But before I cut, I'm going to cut to this. I forgot the guy's name. Hold on, stand by. This is important. I always forget his name because he's got one of those really normal names. Good stuff here. Oh, that's why, because I didn't actually know what the guy's name was, because it was shared by Elon Musk. Okay, whoever he is, I forget. Somebody will tell me in the chat. But this guy gives what I consider to be a stellar analysis of the conversation between Elon Musk and that editor at The Economist who just doesn't understand that we don't like them.
This recent interview between Elon Musk and a reporter for The Economist quickly became all-out warfare. It's being compared to the Kathy Newman-Jordan Peterson interview.
There were lots of times when I was kind of slack-jawed, at least inwardly.
There's so much here. I have focused in on the most interesting points when they actually really start to do battle. Suddenly you can see the game more clearly.
Well, first of all, you support not just the populist right, but the far right. In fact, very fringe parties in some countries.
No, I support the normal people.
Okay.
What do you call the far right? Falsely.
You think as the normal person? Okay.
Yes. Literally, you could go back 10 or 15 years, and these policies were completely normal.
This is her first move. You are far right. Elon counters this by pointing out what you consider far right used to be the norm.
Take a speech from Obama and Hillary and say, what do you think of the speech by Trump? And like, oh, wow, he's the worst person ever. Actually, that was a speech by Obama. Or actually, that was a speech by Hillary.
And Elon grounds his view with 3 claims.
And tell me which of these sound terrible. That we should have secure borders, that we should have safe cities, that we should have sensible spending. Which of those 3 are far right
Those
fringe?
No,
And I would like to just admonish you and the media for the absurd characterization of the far right. It is false and misleading and nonsense. Please keep this part in.
There is so much here, and I have compressed it down and focused in on the most interesting moves being made.
The numbers also disprove what you say.
What numbers?
All the numbers about crime. London is a much safer city than any city in the United States.
Okay, fair enough. If you're looking at the murder rate per capita, what about the dynamics of 2-tier policing, rape gangs? There are unique problems arising in the UK, I would say.
There was out of control rape and murder.
It's more dangerous in this country than it is in Europe.
And that's the best she can do. That's the only response she has. We have our own issues. So what? This logic is so silly, too. Imagine you have something going awry in your life, but you look to your brother-in-law and say, well, he's worse off, so I don't need to deal with it.
Where there is danger in this country is because we fail to incarcerate repeat violent offenders.
And she doesn't like this. She's going to try and claim it's more so to do with gun control, which is a whole nother conversation.
The prevalence of guns has quite a lot to do with it too. I mean, this is a much more dangerous country. Murder rates are much higher, in large part because there are so many guns.
But watch how Elon counters this.
Well, let me give you an interesting number. There are more people that die in Europe from heat deaths than people that die from gun deaths in America.
Then they move on to the next catastrophe, people being arrested for social media posts.
Why aren't you doing more to fight censorship in Europe? Why aren't you? You seem to be doing nothing to fight censorship in Europe.
That's not true. I think that
they put people
in
prison in the UK for social media posts.
You're not just saying, I have every right to say what I want. You're saying, I am right about Europe, and I really don't think you are.
I think I am.
All Elon has to do in that situation is say, yeah, well, I disagree. I think I am. Because you're not providing any evidence.
I think you will find that most people in Europe, or many people in Europe, don't think you're right about it. But let's come to that.
Because the media keeps ignoring reality.
I don't think that's true either.
And they're programmed by the TV and conventional media.
And why are you? I mean, people say that you're a racist. People say that you're, there's all kinds of things said about you, which I'm sure you would disagree with. But I just don't understand. What is the motivation for doing that? Are you fomenting?
My partner is she's half Indian.
She tries to claim there are more people that agree with me, therefore I am somehow right, which of course is a logical fallacy.
So I would say I'm not racist.
Are you anti-Muslim?
I'm against having if people are coming to a country with antithetical views. I am against that. I'm against that. I'm against. I'm against rape and murder. I'm against the imposition of rules and laws that are contrary to what we've come to accept in the West.
And that's all sensible. She can't contend with that at all. So it becomes more of this, how dare you, finger pointing.
Why should you be able to shape European politics? You don't even live there.
I think of it as the sort of the West collectively.
But do you see why this makes people think that this man who has all this power, he's the world's richest man, he thinks he has a right to influence our politics? It makes people, it's why, we started this conversation saying superlatives, it's why people loathe you.
And this is the segment that went viral because she's appealing to that logical fallacy of there's a lot of people that don't like you. So you should sit there and reflect on that, sir. It's attacking their motivations and them as a person rather than contending with the logic.
I mean, some people do loathe you.
Yes, some people do.
But do you understand why? Do you think what you're doing is helpful for Western democracy?
Maybe some people do loathe me. And that's probably true. I don't care. But the fact that, as you pointed out, 250 million people follow me is that I think a lot more people actually like me than don't. And I think a lot more people hate you and the media more than you realize.
This was interesting, and this went viral because Elon Musk at this point flips the script on her.
Do you realize the media is despised? Do you realize that journalists, the view of journalists is like, it's like a favorable view of journalists is like 15%.
Yeah, I do know that. In the United States.
So the shoe is on the other foot. They hate you. And you don't seem to even realize that.
I think very few people know who I am relative to you, so I don't think I play in the same game.
The media collectively.
I think this went viral because she's just so condescending and she personifies the very archetype of a pretentious journalist.
I mean, you're hated. Do you even know that? You probably don't.
I like to think that I'm aware of my own personal shortcomings and the Economist's shortcomings and our worldview's shortcomings.
Yeah.
But what we stand for, as you know, is liberal values, traditional, classical liberal values, where we worry about concentrations of power and we believe in the individual and the dignity of the individual and individual freedom.
Right. I agree with that.
Firmly believe that. And I have long thought that you were a classical liberal. But when I read what you post, classical liberal, J.S. Mill, limited government, individual freedom.
Yeah.
But not to own firearms, and not when it comes to freedom of speech.
I agree with that.
But when I read what you post on your feed, I sometimes wonder whether you really do believe in that.
I literally said, look, I believe in safe cities, secure borders, and sensible spending with respect to government. That doesn't make me right-wing at all. In the least.
Jordan Peterson had a good response to this. Journalists, the favorite career choice of high school mean girls, narcissistically confident in their often ill-informed opinions. You know, everyone reasonable thinks like me. Surprised and offended at any hint of disagreement. Unimpressed by the merely factual.